West Ham's cult hero, Pablo Fornals, of course, no longer with the club, Real Betis player now, but very much one of those that just seems to have captured the hearts of West Ham fans and vice versa. A real match made in heaven. Even though he's left the club, he has nothing but lovely things to say about it. And I just get the feeling that even when his playing days are done, he'll be back quite a lot. Do you know what I mean? He's one of them. And yeah, love the guy. Absolutely gutted when he left. He was speaking about David Moyes this week. It's quite interesting, actually, what he said. He was talking about how emotional his exit was from West Ham and the speech that Moyes gave him, which was quite telling, actually, about David Moyes and with the sort of relationship he had with certain players. I've always felt that Moyes, although there was a clear frustration from fans and even probably from some players from the style that we adopted under him, he was liked by a lot as well. I think the likes of, say, your Jared Bowens, your Fornalses and certain players that were always considered his trusted players, they love working for him, you know. And Fornals was certainly one of those. He was a trusted Moyes player. And what he talked about was the reason he decided to leave West Ham is that because basically he started falling out of favour of being one of Moyes' first team players on the team sheet. He had to then try and work his way back into it. He realised he was going to struggle to do that, and he just wanted to play football. Now, when David Moyes left the club this summer, obviously we brought in Julen Lopetegui. The one of those players, the trusted Moyes players that I felt would suffer from Moyes' exit in West Ham was Tomas Soucek. I think it was quite evident that he would be unlikely to fit into a possession-based side. It was always likely that he was going to be one of the fall guys, actually, one of the ones that would probably end up being a bit of a backup midfielder at best, and would his days, I'll be honest, I felt his days were numbered at West Ham. I felt that he's probably one of those players that was more of a Moyes player, and it was unlikely Lopetegui was even going to use him at all. And if he would, it would probably be, as I say, a backup option or to throw him on to try and grab a goal or something like that. But I didn't see him being a pivotal player under Lopetegui. But that has not been the case at all. When Lopetegui first started at West Ham and Soucek was featuring, I always felt that he was using him because he's part of the old guard, someone a bit trustworthy, and just to sort of try and keep it some form of familiarity within the team, so that although there was going to be certain changes happening, obviously new players being introduced and new styles, you don't want it to be a wholesale change just in case it was just a bit too much and it would really struggle. I mean, we've struggled anyway. But Soucek was straight in there, and he's become actually a really important player under Lopetegui. Remarkably so. Remarkably so. And do you know what? I've been so critical of him, Soucek, over the years, last couple of seasons especially, really tough on him, and felt that he was been very poor at times for us. And I'm just glad, actually, and really pleased for him that he has been able to not only withstand Moyes' exit, but to actually feel like he's sort of bounced back from that. He's become not only an important player for under Lopetegui, he's an important player for West Ham. He's an important player. You know what I mean? I think the fans seem to be falling back in love with him a little bit, which I'm really, really delighted to see. He scored 2 goals already this season. Crystal Palace away being the first one when we won 2-0. He scored that sort of scrappy goal, didn't he? And then obviously Bowen went on to score the second. He then has scored that also another really, really scrappy goal against Brentford. Although the build-up was beautiful, but the actual sort of the final part of it was a bit scrappy. But do you know what? I think there's a lot to be said for what Tomas Soucek actually brings to West Ham. Not only does he work really hard, he's always worked hard. I'll always give him that. I think he's not a flair player. He's not someone that's going to be able to dribble past players and ping some stunning passes around. He's not. That's not his game. But my word, he works hard. But one thing he has got, which he's shown twice already this season with his goals, obviously one against Ipswich. Well, no, he didn't score against Ipswich. Sorry, Kuda scored against Ipswich. But I'll tell you what, he would have scored, because he was just waiting behind him, is that he has got this knack for being at the right place at the right time. And that is an art. That's not lucky. You can't say, like, oh, yeah, it's just because he's a bit fluky. He knows where to be. He knows where to be lingering to try and get those sort of like drop-down balls and to be there to finish it off. He's just got that real knack. I've talked about it before, like David Platt used to have it for Arsenal, England, you know, not the most gifted player going, but he was just always there. Do you know what I mean? At the right place, the right time, sort of ghosts in the box, bang, he puts it away. And Soucek really reminds me of that. He's already scored as well for Czech Republic this season as well. I've just been stunned by how well he has done this season and what a pivotal player he's now becoming. It's almost like we've got the Soucek back of old. Do you know what I mean? When we first signed him, when he came in that January 2020. So, quite a way ago now, talking 4 years. And he's just been a stunning signing for us. He really has been remarkable. A real sort of fan favourite. And I love the fact that it feels like now that we've got the Soucek of old. We've got that player back that we all sort of loved and how important he can be to this side. And I myself have found myself now wanting to see his name on the team sheet, which is weird considering I've had a year or so of the opposite of that, thinking, oh, God, really? Soucek again? I wanted to change. I really thought these days were done. I thought Soucek's days at West Ham are pretty much over. Now Moyes is out the door. We're going to see a wholesale change. But it feels like he's adapted his game, actually, as well. It's not as if he's just carried on as he was. It's like his passing seems better. He seems better in terms of his positioning, and I'm just been very impressed with him, actually. And long may it continue. I like the fact he's shutting me up. I'm really, really, really impressed with him. You go back to that period where he lost his form and was becoming that sort of frustrating player at times, and I felt that a lot of that was to do with Declan Rice and the fact that he commanded that more advanced role in the midfield. David Moyes has spoken about it before, how that he had to accommodate Rice's desire to want to basically attack more at the pitch, wanted to get more goals in his game and to develop himself. I understand it, but it was evident that what basically we'd swapped the roles around. Whereas the season before, if you remember, when Soucek basically made his name at West Ham, Soucek was playing a far more advanced midfield role with Rice playing the defensive midfielder, and then they reversed it, and you could see it just did not work. We had a real horrible season with them to doing it. All right, we won the season, we won the Conference League, but it's always masked how bad it was in the Premier League level. We really struggled, and Soucek especially was kind of the fall guy for that. I felt like, as I say, I'm not sitting there going, others were saying it. I was saying it, getting really frustrated with him and found it that we'd lost that player that we'd signed. I just feel like we're getting him back. I feel like now it's like the shackles are off and he's able now to adapt his game, and this is actually suiting him really well. And he's actually now become not only a player that is doing pretty well under Lopetegui, he's a player that you want to see starting. He's becoming such an important player in the side. I thought he played really well against Ipswich. Though we didn't get on the goals, as I say, he could have scored, and he would have done had it not been for Kudus's leap, which was great because he was obviously desperate to score. But Soucek was there again. He's always there. He always seems to be in the right place at the right time. As I say, he did it against Palace, he did it against Brentford, and I'm saying he was unlucky not to do so against Ipswich. And I love the fact that he loves the club so much. Like I was talking about Fornals and his love for West Ham. It feels like Soucek's got that as well. He was talking in an interview recently with sort of Czech media, and I think one of the journalists sort of suggested that West Ham fans hated Soucek. Now, I don't think fans hate Soucek at all, but I feel like he is at times that kind of like, if you're going to blame someone, Soucek tends to come top of the list. I've certainly done it. You know what I mean? I've done reviewing games and said first one that gets on my nerves is Soucek. I've always felt the system previously was just, we were suffering so much, and Soucek's role change just didn't work. He's not really a defensive midfielder. He can drop in there and do a job if he has to, but ultimately he's actually better when he's more advanced. We've seen that now so often. And I love the fact he's got that just never say die attitude, that tough guy approach to everything, his work rate. It's just a really likeable, lovable character to have at West Ham. And I'm just delighted. I really am. I was so unsure when the season started. So unsure with him. I didn't like the fact he was getting selected. I found it like we were taking a step backwards. And I just thought, oh, God, like I thought these days were done. And I'll tell you what, he's proved me so wrong. And I'm so bloody glad he has. Because let's be honest, he's a lovely bloke. He's one of the most likeable blokes to wear a West Ham shirt, Soucek. And to see him now thriving and getting back to his best at West Ham is just, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. And I think credit needs to go to Lopetegui as well. He's stuck by him and given him that freedom to to play that position that we were used to. I think we're starting to see the best out of Tomas Soucek again. And I'll tell you what, although he can be a bit of a joke, but that kind of, as I say, that the guy to blame and the sort of easy target at times, you sort of sometimes forget how vital he is. As I say, he's not a flair player. He's not something exciting, but he does do a bloody good job. January 2020, I've written down here. I can't believe it. January 2020, he joined. It's quite stunning, isn't it? Considering the fact it's like, we're about to go into 2025 in a few months. It's pretty remarkable. 4.5 years. 153 games he's played for us. 26 goals. 26 goals for a midfielder. It's pretty good going, isn't it? I love it. I love it. I'm so bloody pleased for him. And it's weird, isn't it? How weird how times can change, that now it's gone to a part where now I'm thinking, I want to see your name on the team sheet. I actually get a bit more comfort from it. It's almost like I'm now going to Soucek's playing. We've got a bit of a chance of nicking a goal in this game. He gives you that, doesn't he? He does score goals. He does create things, and he's dangerous. I can imagine he's one of those players you really wouldn't be playing against. When he's on form, he's really good. So, look, it's one of those where you kind of hold your hands up, and I'm certainly doing that with Soucek, because I thought he was going. I thought his days at West Ham were done. I've been bloody slating him for the last couple of years, saying, how frustrating he's been. But to see him back in his position, his favoured position, it feels like this Lopetegui change actually has been a new lease of life for him. As much as he was one of Moyes' trusted players, it feels like he's now gone straight into the same position now under Lopetegui. I think Lopetegui sees Soucek and think he's someone I want on that pitch. And you can see why. He's gone from a player that was going out the door to being a serious player for West Ham again. And I'll tell you what, long may it continue. Come on, you irons.